Hello and welcome to another Free.volous webisode. Today, the Ordinary Colors Coverage Edition. So I'm going to test out the Ordinary Coverage Foundation today. I already have it on. And before I jump into the application, let's just talk about the claims directly from the Ordinary website. They say coverage foundations are full coverage formulations available in a comprehensive shade range across 21 shades, which is amazing. These foundations contain higher pigment levels than our serum foundations, but still offer a smooth finish that avoids the heavy makeup look that can make skin appear more aged. The texture is that of a lightweight, non-oily cream. The pigments used are treated for a rich, highly saturated effect. These are suspended in our proprietary spreadability system that allows pigments to look natural on the skin, resist collecting within fine lines, and stay on for longer. The foundations offer a semi-matte finish and are compatible with most primers, and are designed to work exceptionally well with the primers offering from the Ordinary. The EU version has an SPF of 15 without chemical sunscreens and only physical protection. The claims are looking natural, looking smooth on the skin, not sinking into fine lines, and lasting quite a long time. So that's what we are going to see if happens today. So without further ado, let's jump into the application. It's exactly the same packaging like the serum foundation. You have a lock pump, which is amazing, and it is a sturdy plastic bottle of 30 ml. They say to shake well before use. And I'm not wearing a primer. I don't know if I should because it's quite warm outside. I wanted to give it a fair shot. Maybe I will wear a little bit of primer. This is the Emma Hardy Amazing Face Protect and Prime SPF 30. And despite not being mattifying primer, I find that it helps to hold makeup in place quite easily. It's a lot thicker than the serum foundation. Now, as you know, I always apply it with my fingers first to see how it goes. It is still quite thin, but it is thicker than the serum one, of course. It's not as elastic as the Clinique Beyond Perfecting or the Milani Conceal and Perfect, but it still goes a long way. I still have quite a lot on my hand. It's probably a bit too dark for me right now because I'm not tanning. But anyway, we'll make it work. Yeah, this applies really nicely. It's not setting too quickly or anything. I'm going to apply it to my forehead just because I want to see how it goes on my wrinkles, if it settles a lot, how it behaves, and that's where I have the heavier lines. There you go, the first layer is done. Oh, it's showing off a little bit orange on camera. It doesn't look that orange in real life. It's a bit darker than my skin, but not that much. But there you go, I still have a little bit left. This has a similar feeling to the Shiseido Synchro Skin. I'm going to add a little bit more with a brush, just patting it in. It blends into the skin beautifully. It's not heavy. I'm going to take just a little bit more. When you work with brushes or sponges, you know you're going to end up using a bit more product. And I'm going to go over my scars. I only have one active blemish on my face right now and another one right on the crease of my nose. So all the other little marks you see are just scarring or old blemishes that have dried out and left that weird, ugly mark that will fade, hopefully, with lots of acids. I brought it down a little bit down the neck so that you don't get too shocked. So here it is, 1 layer and a half because I've reapplied a little bit extra on some areas. Nothing that is too different from what I do every day. It's really easy to apply, it blends beautifully, it behaves really nice with the brush, and it behaves beautifully with the fingers. I didn't use a sponge because I usually only use beauty sponges to blend in product, not necessarily to apply it. And I don't feel that right now it needs to be softened in any way. So yeah, it looks really nice. It definitely has a bit more coverage than the serum foundation. It's slightly dewy. It hasn't set. I was expecting this one to be a little bit more of a matte-ish finish. It's, I would say, a satin finish. It's nothing too dewy, but it's not matte at all. Let's see how it goes with the rest of the products. And yeah, so it's 11:51. My makeup is done. I probably finished the foundation part at around 11:30. So let's call that the hour. And yeah, everything went on really smoothly. I had to powder. I felt like I had to powder with a little bit of Lock-It setting powder on the center of my face. But everything, cream or powder, went on really smoothly over the foundation, and it does not look extremely cakey. That's what I was trying to say. It hasn't creased, it hasn't made everything look a little bit too cakey or anything. It is a little bit more noticeable on the skin, but that's what happens with heavier foundations usually. But even on my forehead, where I have a lot of lines, for now it's not creasing, and it looks really nice, really smooth on the skin. It doesn't feel tacky, maybe slightly on the areas where I haven't powdered near the jaw, but other than that it doesn't feel extremely tacky or slippery in any way, and it doesn't feel heavy, at least for now. So yeah, I'm really digging this foundation, really digging it. Let's just see how it can handle my sweaty day in a very hot weather. Let's see how it goes. So I'll see you in a bit. My camera stopped recording. Anyhow, it is now 3:16 p.m. When I sat down, it was 3 o'clock to record this bit, and I showed up close how my skin was going, and in the meantime I did a few things. So for now I'm going to show you the up close at 3 p.m. and my face was extremely oily, really shiny. This foundation claims to be matte or demi-matte, maybe, but not. If you are oily, it will not stay matte at all throughout the day. It will very easily, and despite using powder, will go from matte to very dewy, and then if you're like me, combination and oily, it will go into full-blown disco ball. This happened after about 2 hours wearing it, and it's been 3.5 hours, a little bit over that mark, and yeah, that's just how it went. A pro with this foundation that I've noticed is that despite being really oily, it doesn't start to separate in any way, it doesn't clog up, it doesn't emphasize your pores, or it doesn't start to look weird. So when it starts to oil up, it just oils up and you look shiny, but it doesn't change the overall look of the foundation on the face, which I think is a positive. Another positive is that it did not crease on my forehead, where, funnily enough, I didn't apply powder, but it did crease on my left, your right laugh line, not on the right one, but on the left, just on the left. So people with normal to dry skin, I think, will like this foundation. When it comes to oily skin types and combo, yeah, it's picking your battles. This foundation still looks really natural and skin-like despite giving you a bit more coverage, but it doesn't withstand the oil production of your face throughout the day. What I did afterwards, and I thought it was recording but it wasn't, is that I blotted as I usually do, and I felt that a bit of the coverage came off onto the blotting sheet. So not only the oil, but a bit of the pigment. That is only normal. You usually lose a bit of coverage when you blot, but this level of pigmentation loss. As you can see on my lower area here on my jaw where I have my pigmentation, that suggests also, along with the fact that it never felt set on the skin, that leads me to believe that this is not transfer proof and that you have to be quite careful when touching a face, a little bit like the serum foundation. You don't feel it heavy on the skin, but if you touch it, you know it's there, and despite using powder, it will not be transfer proof. It's going to be there lingering. Despite blotting and adding a bit of powder over it again, my skin is still looking quite shiny. Keep in mind this is a very, very hot day here in Portugal. It's 20, can you see that? It's 29 degrees Celsius right now. I'll do an update at the end of the day to show you how it's going. So here I am, it's the end of the night, it's 29 p.m. and here I am in all my glory, my greasy glory, to talk to you about my conclusions about this foundation. First, when it comes to the claims, demi-matte, I wouldn't say so, not for people with combo skin, combo to oily, maybe for people with normal to dry skin, but for me this was off the bat always quite dewy in finish, and throughout the day when the oils started seeping through, it was a grease ball show. On the other hand, this is one of the most long-wearing foundations that I've ever put on my face. I still have coverage on my face despite sweating profusely throughout the whole day and having a lot of oil, feeling oils seeping through. So this is very long wearing, and it didn't break down, it didn't patch up. You know how some foundations just start to look completely disheveled. This did not do that. It faded in some areas where I touched it, but all in all it kept its sort of dignity in a way, and it faded gracefully where I touched it. It wasn't patching up. It just stayed on, and everything that I put on top of it is still there, including my highlighter, which is, I've never seen my highlighter last this long. So so when it comes to longevity, this is the bomb. When it comes to coverage, I would say this gives you a good medium coverage. Everything that I needed to be covered is covered, except for a couple of blemishes that started to be more noticeable throughout the day where it faded. But on the areas where my skin is more even, it lasted beautifully, and it covered really nicely all my scarring, my minor problems. Regarding the way it looks on the skin, I think this looks really beautiful on the skin. Put the oil away, put the oil aside, let's think through other people's skins. And putting the oil away, this sits on the skin really beautiful. It's hardly noticeable. If you get a good color match, which I didn't, it's hardly noticeable. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top of the skin like some foundations do, in a bad way. Although it is, that's why it still feels tacky throughout the day. So yeah, it looks really beautiful, and it gives the type of coverage that looks natural but hides everything that you need to hide, unless you have really severe problems. It doesn't emphasize lines, just this crease, not this one, and not the ones on my forehead, which is really funny. So vertical creases, probably some of them will be emphasized, but I would say this is good for aging skin that needs that kind of hydration boost throughout the day. This would be really nice if you need extra coverage that the serum foundation won't give you. The bigger and the big downside on this one is it cannot stand oils on the skin. And again, as I said, you have to pick your battles. I prefer to look a little bit oilier throughout the day but still have a very natural look to my face. Some people may prefer something matter. Will I use this throughout the summer? No, because it's a little bit beyond the shine that I'm willing to have on my face personally to be worth it. But I will go back to it when it gets colder, my skin starts to get a bit drier. I think this is going to be a really good foundation for the winter. I'll just have to get another shade because this is not my winter shade. Given my personal experience, I would say that people with normal to dry skins may probably really like this one, and it gives a really nice coverage. It lasts a very long time on the skin, despite my skin trying to wash it out with oil. So yes, it's a thumbs up from me, despite not being good enough for my skin. And don't forget, this costs €7. I've had very high-end foundations behave a lot worse than a €7 foundation, than this €7 foundation. So good job, The Ordinary. I'm still going to try out other methods for using this foundation. It was so affordable that it is worth the extra effort. When they are really pricey, I'm not that benevolent, but anyway, with this one I think I'm going to try out different primers, powdering underneath the foundation, which is a cool trick, and setting sprays. All of those things can help with the oil control that this foundation does not have. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. If you have experienced this foundation, leave your experience down below in the comments. Everybody is different, so we can always enjoy other people's experiences and learn from them. If you would like, please subscribe. That would mean the world to me. And thank you for spending your time on me, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!